I hope that you are coming back from your break. We are excited to have another short presentation, so we'll give people just a minute to tune back in. But I am really excited to introduce our next two speakers. Again, our most recent signer of the Green Chemistry Commitment, already doing amazing work on their campus around green chemistry. So I am going to give some short introductions to our team joining us from Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. And I can see them there with their camera on. So I'm going to say thank you for joining us. Welcome. I'm going to give a short introduction and then we'll turn it over to you to present. So this is Dr. Rebecca DeVasher and Dr. Stephanie Poland. Dr. DeVasher, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is the Associate Professor of Chemistry and Biochemistry who leads an active research program in green chemistry, who seeks to develop a new method and technology that reduce or eliminates the use of hazardous chemicals. She is the winner of the 2020 Dean's Outstanding Teacher Award, and she's involved in various sustainability initiatives on campus, as well as being a faculty mentor to visiting high school seniors completing science projects in the Rose-Hulman Operation Catapult program, and is an advisor for the Unity Student Organization. And Dr. Stephanie Poland is an associate professor of chemistry and biochemistry, and her area of expertise is inorganic chemistry, green chemistry, and polymer synthesis and characterization. And her research focuses on small molecule activation using transition metal catalysts, as well as the development of bio-friendly plastics. So with that short introduction, I'm going to pass it over to you two to take away and tell us about the work you have going on in your green chemistry course.
Hello, hello. Hello. Can you see the screen just fine?
Yep, we can see it. You're not in presentation mode just yet, but we can see it. And you're just a little, I can't hear you that well, so maybe just a little bit louder.
Okie dokie. How is this for volume? Very good.
Sounds a little bit better. Yep.
Okay, good. We had to pivot a little bit. We had our timing set up and then some things went ahead of schedule, so we had to move into a different room. So hopefully the echo is not horrible in here. Okay, good. So I am Rebecca DeVasher. Thank you for having us on and for the lovely introduction, Natalie. We really appreciate it. Hello, everybody. It was good talking with everyone in the breakout session, and it was really awesome to hear Trisha talk about supercritical fluids. I want one of those setups. We have a Dean's Equipment Fund coming up here pretty soon. I'm already thinking we can sneak that in there. So I'm excited about that and appreciate it. So we are here I'll let Stephanie take over here in just a second and introduce herself a little bit more. But we're here to talk about our green chemistry course that we taught at Rose-Hulman, and we want to give you some information about what we did, some observations, some of the things that we really liked that we felt were fun for us. We have a student here, Hannah. So I actually want to introduce Hannah. Hannah Snyder is a chemistry and chemical engineering student, and so in the breakout session there are a couple of folks here that are in the engineering crowd, and so Hannah's here. Hannah, do you want to say just what graduating year you are?
Sure. I'm Hannah Snyder, chemical engineering and chemistry, class of 2024, and so I do a lot of research with Dr. DeVasher on green chemistry and sustainability here on campus. Pretty cool.
So we have Hannah here to kind of give a little bit of a student perspective, and so we're excited to join you. Stephanie, am I leaving something out?
No, I'm Stephanie Poland. I am the one that's been kind of in the corner here of Rebecca's camera. I am an associate professor, and we did teach this green chemistry course. We're on quarters here at Rose-Hulman, so we taught this course last quarter during the winter, and we tried something new based on some other things that had happened on campus, and we were quite pleased with how it turned out, and we thought that some other people might be interested in basically learning what we had done and what we did, why we did it, and what we learned from it. So we're really excited to share that with you today.
Okay, so let's see a little bit about Rose-Hulman. Rose-Hulman is a private undergraduate institution. We are on the quarter-based academic calendar, as Stephanie said. We have about 2,000 undergraduates here at Rose, and you can see the degree programs are listed on the screen there. We are STEM focused, so if you come to Rose-Hulman as a freshman and and I actually am a freshman advisor, and so I do some advising. Stephanie is also a freshman advisor. And so there's a lot of faculty play a big role in student advising. And I actually get the undeclared majors. And so this is their choice. And so if you want to, if you want to study, if you want to major in English, this is not the school for you. So not to say that we do not have, one thing I do want to mention that has been sort of something that's come from this group. There is a lot of humanities and social sciences courses that our students are required to take, which is a good thing. And so these are the degree programs, but we have a full humanities and social sciences department, and they offer a number of classes in literature, art, film. So it's a full slate of humanities courses that our students do take. So we do feel like even though the list of majors does give you a really good idea of kind of who and what we are, it doesn't give you the full picture. So we really do try to operate as much like a liberal arts school as we can in this sort of technical environment. So that's how I would describe Rose-Hulman. Anything? All right, so our department. So here's Stephanie and Sophia doing work in our new academic building. So we just got a new academic building this year. Our department chair made sure that I would mention that in this group, and so it's really important. And it's really been a big push and a big reason why we felt really good about signing this commitment back in March. So we moved into this building in the fall. And so anybody that's ever done academic moves or lab moves, we're here, you're with me, right? We know what that's like. So it's a tough move. It was a lot of work, but we're really happy to be in these new labs. So here's a picture of the new lab, and you can see that it's a really slick space. It's very nice. It's clean. It's very well aligned with green chemistry principles. We have a number of technical help and engineering controls that allow us to operate much more safely than we were in our older laboratories, which were very outdated. And so we're really thrilled to have this new space, and because of its alignment, because of what now we're capable of doing in it, we felt really good about signing this commitment and really just reaching for the stars. So we're actually a pretty large, relatively large department for the size of school that we are. So I always, try to make sure that we are 11 faculty, 2 technical staff, and 1 administrative assistant. We have about 35 majors, so we're small and mighty compared to the 2,000. Most of those are mechanical engineers. But so we do have a big gen ed service to other departments, so we do have a larger faculty. So that's a really nice feature for a STEM focused school to have so many faculty, and so our major to faculty ratio is excellent. Okay, so we have Rose-Hulman. We're on the quarter system. Stephanie and I didn't talk a whole lot about our backgrounds, but we have similar backgrounds in organometallic chemistry, and we've worked together on this course before. And so we wanted to, this winter, we were scheduled to teach it, and so we wanted to try something new. And it's a 4 credit hour course, and so you guys that teach recognize, so we have 4 lecture hours per week, and so that's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday for 10 weeks, and so it's a long grind there. There was a faculty member here, Bill Klein, and so he is our and Bill Klein has passed away. He's no longer with us, and he was a great mentor of mine, and really did a lot on campus in terms of sort of promoting that sort of what I can think of as like let go of the perfectionist kind of mentality. So he was really good about reaching out to people. And so he started this lightning talks. So the Center for Diversity and Inclusion picked it up and started hosting it once Bill passed away. And so it's now touted as the most interesting hour on campus. And so you can sign up and give a lightning talk. It's 5 to 10 minutes. The goal is to engage, educate, and enlighten someone on some topic. And the quote that always goes along with it is to kind of let go of the perfectionist mentality, to just, be yourself, be authentic, and say what's on your mind. And so, Stephanie and I were talking about this 4 credit hour course. We have 4 lectures to do. How cool would it be for Friday to be Lightning Talk Friday? And so that's kind of where we started. And so we had the students, then we set out a schedule, and it worked out really well with the number of students that we had. And so here's some of the talk titles. So hopefully you guys can see these talk titles. I don't know if you have to move your little bar around so you can see them. But these are some of the examples of the lightning talks that students gave. So I'll just leave those there for you to see that there's the let go of perfectionists was really a big part of this, right? I mean, we wanted students to give a talk on a technical topic, but the talk did not have to be technically perfect, right? So that's a pretty big departure from what you would typically see in a classroom setting. And so it did take some, kind of working. So you can sort of see, like, there were some students that jumped in right away, right? So the student that wrote "What the Duck," they were really excited about the let go of perfectionist mentality. There was no issue with that student. They had let it go a long time ago, and they were ready to go. There were other students that, it was much more comfortable for them to give a more technical talk to get out started. And so we had a wide variety of both topic choices, of the sort of level of technical information that students would give. And there was a lot of variety in these talks. Do you have anything you want to?
Yeah, I would just say that the way that we presented this to the students was, this is a way to get you up and speaking in front of your classmates. So they're getting practice speaking in front of an audience. This is them getting to own their education in green chemistry. In a 10-week course, we can go through all of the principles individually, or we can do case studies, or we can have them do problem sets and do all of the traditional educational things. But we really saw this as a way for them to take a little bit of ownership and get to explore something, maybe not to an expert level, but take what they're already interested in and then take in and learn more of the green chemistry aspects of that. So even with these titles, it was clear that sometimes these were absolutely presentations that had been recycled from other classes. But we could always actually see the little bit extra that they had done to tie it in. Maybe it was only one extra slide or one extra bullet point, but there was the taking something that they had already owned and then bringing it into a green chemistry platform. In terms of structure, the students had to do 4 of these throughout the term, and we had 4 present every single week. So they were about 10 to 15 minutes a piece. So the give in from the students wasn't much, but I think the takeaway and the breadth of what we were able to have the students really interact with was pretty significant. And I think you're going to talk about that more here on the next slide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so this is a data slide. So some people are really comfortable with rows and columns, and so I assume most of you guys are okay with this. I know it's busy, but essentially what I did, and we kind of thought, well, let's see if so Stephanie was like, hey, let's map these talks to green chemistry principles, and I was like, that's brilliant. That's of course what we're going to do. And so it was just a real quick kind of mapping. This was just pass fail. Was it very obvious that this principle was applied or discussed or mentioned or not? And so it had to be pretty explicit for it to get a green check mark. So there were some of the red X's where you may argue that there was something there, but unless it was very explicit, I did not count it, so to speak. So you can sort of see that there's a wide variety of both talk, the way that the talks would, whether they would span all many green chemistry principles, or, and the other thing that you can see here is that the green chemistry, there's some green chemistry principles that were more represented than others, and so there's a lot of information here that I thought was very interesting, and there was some unexpected results. And so we have, I got some more information here. This is the same stuff. I just plotted this as a bar graph. And so these are the number of green chemistry principles are represented here on the x-axis per student talk title. So the talk title is on the x-axis, and on the y-axis are the number of green chemistry principles, and those are each color-coded. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors, then there were 5 principles mentioned. And you can see that the principles are coded down at the bottom in the legend. Some of those, it turned out really well on the screen. Actually looks okay. You can kind of see what's going on here. But like, there's some unexpected, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. There were some unexpected results. So things like redox flow, batteries, carbon dioxide sequestration, those are topics where you typically think have a lot of green chemistry applications. And so I would have expected to see so many principles being applied in some of those cases. And then, what the student chose to talk about was what was highlighted here. And so it was interesting to me, I think, to see that. And then things like primary explosives had higher things. Let's see, Marcia, did you have your hand up? Do you want to pop one in?
Yes, I did have a couple of quick questions. I wanted to know whether or not the students, I know it's letting go of perfection, but did the students have to submit like an outline? How many people were they presenting in front of? And did they do the presentations more than once throughout the span of your course?
Those are great questions. So the students did not submit an outline. We did not require them to give us any advanced information. We said, here are the weeks where you will be presenting. You need to have your topics ready. You need to be ready to go. And other than a couple of illnesses, everybody was always ready to go. In terms of giving multiple talks, yes, they gave 4 throughout the quarter. So it went every other week. So since we have a 10-week quarter, we would know that students would either be on an even week or an odd week. And we actually would give on opposite weeks as well to join in and be comrades in arms for Lightning Talk weeks. The students were presenting only to the other students in the class. So that also, there were 7 students and then the 2 of us in there. So it did keep it small. It was a safe place for them to be presenting in front of each other.
Did you observe that the students became more proficient in their delivery as the weeks went on, so that the 4th week was considerably better than the 1st week?
Yeah, I would say yes and no. By the end, I would say maybe that where it was a ramp up and then a fall down as we got closer to the end of the term, just because the students were getting burnt out. We had at the end of the course, because the first week we didn't have lightning talks, and then the very last week we did full student presentations. So instead of this 5 to 10 minute talk, they gave a 25-minute more deep dive talk. And I would say that because we had done the lightning talks throughout, they knew better what we were looking for their more in-depth talks. So the in-depth talks at the end of the term were much stronger as a result of the priming throughout the quarter.
My last question is, the expectation for the students, on a scale of 1 to 10, was the expectation, even though it was a lightning talk, the amount of time that they had to speak was truncated, was the expectation excellence? Was the expectation to be able to deliver? Was the expectation to expose the group to new and different learnings?
The goal was to give a talk that illustrated green chemistry principles on an area of your choice. That was the assignment. And so they did, so they were expected to illustrate green chemistry principles, and but it could be anything that they chose, and there was no expectation for excellence. Um, so some of the things here that, again, there were just some interesting results from what I would have expected some titles or some topics to have yielded, and so that was kind of interesting. And I would say similarly with the poor real-time monitoring for pollution prevention did end up being somewhat of a we kind of a class sort of mascot. We definitely talked about real-time monitoring for pollution prevention. You can tell how proficient I am at saying that. And we actually talked about it quite a bit. And so, but none of the talks actually landed on that topic. And so you can sort of see where our students tended to explicitly, and part of me wonders if those lines past that median, so things like catalysis, safer solvents, energy efficiency, those sorts of things. I wonder if it's just that our students are more comfortable talking about those topics. In addition to, so familiarity and interest, I think, are both at play here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that one thing that I got out of this when we did a back analysis of what the students had presented is that there is a real pull toward large scale initiatives, the quote unquote like sexy side of green chemistry. The students want to make big impacts. But when it comes to something that could potentially make a big impact, like looking at an or economic reaction and really getting into the nitty gritty, they sort of shied away from those sorts of things. And the familiarity maybe with the bigger picture ideas was interesting to see.
So the big thing too for us is that it kind of the lightning talks felt almost like a gift. It was really nice to as a faculty member to give them, right? And so it was nice to hear them. It was nice to give them. It was nice to be in that environment. It totally, I think, changed. Sort of that day felt kind of like a different day, and so it sort of had like its own. The class gave the class a little bit of a rhythm, and I don't know if you guys like rhythm. I like rhythm, and so I like for something to feel like I can, have movement. And so I thought that was really nice.
Mm-hmm. I really thought that it gave life to every Friday. And then on Monday, we would get back into studying much more intensely about the things. But on Friday, then a student might say like, oh yeah, like we learned about earlier this week, like here's this thing. And that was truly a joy.
Yeah, it was. And Hannah's going to tell you a little bit of her perspective. And I'm just going to scoot this around here and just let you give. So this is Hannah again. Hello, Hannah.
Hello. Yeah, for sure. As a student, having the opportunity to take a course like entirely focused on green chemistry really allowed me to gain like a stronger sense of the subject. I had heard about the concept of green chemistry in previous courses like organic chemistry, some analytical chemistry, but this class really solidified the wide variety of applications that green chemistry can have for me as a student and in my future career. And so it really, I guess for me, showed that green chemistry can be applied to my academics, my personal life, and potentially the industrial areas I might go in the future. And so that was really cool for me. One of the main takeaways I think that I had from the course was just a personal improvement regarding how I view the principles of green chemistry and how I apply them to my classwork and the research I help with here at Rose. And a lot of that was due to the lightning talks and recognizing how these different concepts can tie into different things. And so the lightning talks overall were just a fantastic way to learn about a diverse array of green chemistry concepts. Because I'm really interested in materials and synthesis, most of my lightning talks were focused on that area. And so it was really fun for me to be like, yes, I love aerogels. I'm going to show the whole class about them and share my joy. But then there were other subjects that were presented that I personally would never have looked into or have ever connected them to green chemistry. And so that was really cool as well. Like, I would have never gone on my own and researched how rubber ducks can connect to green chemistry. But that was something I learned about in this class and with the lightning talks. So that was super cool. Overall, though, having the opportunity to take a green chemistry course and participate in lightning talks really shifted my mindset regarding chemistry and chemical engineering. I'm now more conscious of the decisions I make in lab, and I really try and connect with my professors in my chemistry and engineering classes and ask, hey, like, is this process safe or is this process environmentally friendly? And if so, in the real world, how can we make this shift? How can we, become more centered around green chemistry? So overall, I really love the course, and the lightning talks really, I guess, help connect me to green chemistry a lot more.
Thank you, Hannah. Really appreciate it. Hannah's super busy. Hannah's a double major, and she's taking thermo and fluids right now. So those of you that have gone through the engineering, you know what that is like. And this is finals week. 10th week for us. Next week is finals week. So Hannah's an all-star, and we really, really, really appreciate Hannah. Yes. And so just to kind of, and we're running a minute late, so I want to finish this up. So some of our observations for lighting talks that we observed were there were some unexpected things, and then there were some things that were really just really amazing. So the active student learning that we observed, and what seemed to be lowering barriers to student engagement was so that like let go of perfectionist thing really did help a lot, I think. And it really was cool to see our students so engaged in large scale industrial processes and these sort of big ideas and thoughts that they had for sustainability. And we did have fun with, we did have a good kind of team atmosphere, and we very much poked fun at real-time analysis for pollution prevention. And we really liked it, right? And then now it's one of those things where now anytime anybody sees anything that has anything remotely to do with real-time analysis for pollution prevention, we'll all flag each other down and make sure we find it. So, and supercritical fluids will be one of those things. I think it's kind of awesome. I don't know if you saw, there was a supercritical fluid lighting talk, so somebody did a talk on that, and yeah, now I have to get a kit. So with that, thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Sorry, I went over a minute or 3, but thank you for your attention. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I see people are already putting things into the chat as questions as well. So I do know that we do have breakout rooms that I think we're set to have here, but maybe we could answer this one question that's coming into the chat just because others may have that same idea. So I don't know if you can see the question or if you'd like me to read it out loud there. So can you see the question?
Yeah, we can see it.
Great. And so just a little bit higher on the volume too. I know I'm kind of like, you're saying amazing things, and I'm just going to get closer to my computer.
I'm going to get very close.
Perfect.
Were the lightning talks able to boost their presentation skills and views on green chemistry? Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100% believe that. And the thing that I think that the lightning talks brought is more the breadth, not the depth, but the breadth, and allowing the students to see that there are so many different places where we can actually engage with green chemistry. Again, we're going on the duck one, but really that student pulled us into a world with rubber duckies and got that and just had a fun excursion with that for 10 minutes. And so, yes, I think that made it more theirs. Rather than us just lecturing at them every day. And even if you try to keep that engaging, just having this Friday to look forward to where they didn't know what they were going to get from their classmates was really exciting. And are there other fun methods? Honestly, when we teach this again the next time, hopefully we will again co-teach it, and 100% we will do lightning talks again. So I'm sure there are other engaging things out there, but this for us proved to be a very useful tool for engaging our students within the topic and getting them actually to take ownership of this. Did they contribute to the overall assessment mark? They did, yes. The students were required to upload their slides after their presentations every week. And so that was kind of a checkbox assignment for them to do. So they were not formally assessed on the presentation, but we did give them completion points for completing them every week. And I gotta say, we didn't mention it too much, but I had a blast making my own lightning talks. Every other week we were giving them as well. And so I got to do recycling and some fun CO2 stuff. I'm a CO2 nerd, so this supercritical fluids was awesome. But getting to get in and do those as well, we probably spent more time on them than we should have, but it was also a real joy.
Way into thermoelectric. Turns out I really like thermoelectric films. So there's a couple of places it's right for green chemistry too, by the way. Those things they need, there's a lot of places where I could point out in this and this and this. Yeah, I see that in the chat about infographic. Yeah, that's another that's a fun one. That's a good answer to number 2 question up there. And we did this we have a research rotations course, and one of the assignments is for students to do a graphical abstract, and that has been joyful as well. So these joyful assignments are really important to have. I think it really does help to make the environment what you really want, which is, you kind of build that team out, and so it feels good, like everybody's being supported and everybody's included and everybody has their place. It's awesome. I think green chemistry does that as well. I think there's something natural about it.
I totally agree. So thank you so much for your feedback on that. I know that we have about 20 minutes now to go into breakout rooms. So I know that NIM has on the back side set up 3 different rooms. So there is the option, and I believe that you will be able to select which breakout room that you go to. So you can go to our first speaker to ask more questions if you didn't get those answers, or to just talk about supercritical fluids more, or go and learn and talk more about lightning talks or more ideas on how to maybe do some creative ways to get chemistry and green chemistry talked about within your courses. And I believe the last one is for me. So maybe you're completely new to the green chemistry community and you're going, these things are all great, but I just need to learn about green chemistry first before I feel comfortable in diving in. So come join me in that room if that is your background. So I think NIM is going to open those up on the backside, and you should be able to select those. So NIM, if you could just give me a thumbs up. Awesome.